Right now, the search continues for those responsible for a deadly shooting last night in Beloit. What police are saying about the investigation. Several kids cited in Madison after an incident at one of the city's libraries. Some parents are upset with how the situation was handled. Plus, heavy rain and snowmelt could mean trouble for some communities in southern Wisconsin. They're preparing for the possibility of flooding.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 6.
Beloit police are still working to find the person responsible for a triple shooting that happened late last night. A 21-year-old man was killed. 2 others were sent to the hospital. Rock County reporter Adam Duxter joins us live from Beloit with the latest in this investigation. Adam?
Well, Eric, I'm on Elm Street in Beloit where a triple shooting happened late last night. And today police say that shooting is part of a larger, more ongoing dispute. A 21-year-old Beloit man is dead, and 2 others, a 15-year-old and a 25-year-old, are in the hospital following a triple shooting on Beloit's west side. Police say last night's shooting is part of a larger, ongoing dispute.
It's quite an involved scenario.
And as far as an investigation goes, everything is on the table as a possibility.
Well, we're looking for several people, both in terms of potential suspects, potential witnesses, maybe even some additional victims.
This is the second homicide in 2 months and third since August, all in this small neighborhood. Yet Police Chief David Zabalski says these shootings are targeted, not random.
It's important for them to know that the 2 groups, if you will, knew each other. There's not random people running around shooting randomly at folks in our community.
And while the 3 victims and possible suspects are still nameless at this point, Chief Zabalski says the department will keep working until they get answers.
We are committed and dedicated to solving the crime, identifying the perpetrators, and bringing them to justice.
And as for whether or not last night's triple shooting is related to last month's homicide or August's double shooting that happened just about a block away from here, Beloit police say it is too early to tell at this time, but they do say one key factor to this investigation could be social media. And they're warning people not to post or speculate on social media right now for fear that it could interfere with their investigation or worse, lead to retaliation.
Adam Duxter live in Beloit. Adam, thank you. Those living near that shooting scene say they're on edge. Jessica Bradley says a bullet hit her home and investigators had to dig it out of the siding. She says police were quickly on scene and she felt safe once they arrived.
It was scary because Elma's a really quiet street. I mean, for the most part, it's elderly and, you know, very, very quiet, not a lot of kids. So the fact that there was a shooting here is incredible. I mean, you would never expect this.
Again, police have not made any arrests yet in the case. An Amber Alert is still in effect for a missing toddler from Milwaukee. Police are searching for 2-year-old Noelani Robinson. They say the suspect is 33-year-old Darius Higgins and should be considered armed and dangerous. Milwaukee police say he is accused of killing 24-year-old Sierra Robinson during a double shooting in Milwaukee yesterday afternoon, injuring another woman. If you see him or Noelani, you're asked to call 911 immediately. A UW student accused of hitting a UW-Madison police officer has been ordered not to drink alcohol. Logan Mitchell appeared in Dane County Court today for his initial hearing. Police were called to Whitty Hall on Sunday to investigate a report of someone urinating in a hallway. Officers say Mitchell became combative when they approached him, eventually injuring 2 of them responding to the incident. Mitchell's blood alcohol content, they say, measured .20. He was also cited for underage drinking, possession of a fake ID, and depositing human waste. A police investigation is underway tonight into what exactly happened at a library on Madison's north side. Police say more than a dozen loud and frenzied middle school-age students were involved in a fight with officers yesterday. Rose Schmidt spoke with one mom who says she doesn't understand why it happened. Rose?
Yes, well, Eric, the Madison Public Library says this is not the first time this month police had to be called to the library's Lakeview branch for a group of disruptive children and teens. As a result of an incident there yesterday, officers issued multiple citations to 5 children, ranging from disorderly conduct to resisting an officer. A mom says a situation at the Madison Public Library's Lakeview branch has left her family shaken. Jaleesa Johnson says when she arrived at the library, she found her 11-year-old son in the back of a squad car.
Then the fact that he cried this morning and didn't want to go to school, That part really touched me the most because normally he's not scared of anything.
The Madison Public Library says some middle schoolers were being loud and using inappropriate language and refused to leave when the librarian asked. 4 Madison police officers responded to the scene, and then the North District Community Police team was brought in as backup. Officers say they tried to reason with the group of 15 to 20 children for 10 minutes, but they were met with, quote, angry belligerence. Police say one girl kicked an officer in the groin and another kicked a chair, toppling a bookshelf. And those involved agree it escalated pretty quickly.
My son said, Mom, I was trying to leave. That's what he kept telling me. Like, Mom, I was trying to go home. I was on the computer. When all of this was taking place, he said that he wasn't involved in it.
Johnson says her son was issued a citation for obstruction of an officer. She says detectives told her that her son was fighting an officer, something she says he would not do. And instead, she says the officers were in the wrong.
I done seen adults get treated that way, but I've never seen a child treated the way the police did my son yesterday. And it's just like, it keeps going through my head because like he's a baby.
Madison police declined my request for an on-camera interview today. The Northside Planning Council issued a statement about this incident saying it's offering families support and resources. The council says it recognizes that the incident falls within the broader context of the way communities of color are policed.
Rose Schmidt reporting tonight. Rose, thank you. Rain is moving in. Let's check your first alert forecast now with meteorologist Dave Caulfield. Dave?
Well, Eric, on the radar, we have noticed some activity over the past few hours move into southern Wisconsin. This is the first round of rain of many over the next couple of days that will visit southern Wisconsin, so we could see some light to moderate showers in spots like the Dells, Lone Rock, and starting to move into Madison. A few raindrops are possible. Heavier rain exists right now closer to Black River Falls. So in Madison, a few raindrops possible this evening. We'll start to notice that activity ramp up just a little bit as we get later into the evening commute. Light rain being reported at the airport, 41 degrees right now, wind chill of 34. It's at 45. The temperature is in Janesville, 40 in Watertown, and 40 in Boscobel. Wind speed's a little bit breezy at times out of the south and east at about 8 to 15 miles per hour. That wind will be with us over the next few days as a powerful low pressure system moves through. Rounds of rain will also be with us as well as we head into tomorrow. Highs will be in the lower 50s, and those warmer temperatures could cause some flooding concerns. We'll talk more about that in your News 3 Now First Alert forecast in just a few minutes.
Dave, thank you. And the city of Darlington is preparing for that possibility of flooding later in the week with the warmer temperatures and rain in the forecast. This would be the second time in recent months that the Pecatonica River flooded into the downtown area in Darlington. Amanda Quintana is there with what they're expecting.
Right now, the Pecatonica River is at about 10 feet high, but it's expected to get to 14.9 feet by Thursday. That's when it will crest. Now, at 15 feet is when they would close down Main Street, so it will be extremely close. When this same area flooded in October, it crested almost 2 feet higher than expected. The mayor says the people of Darlington are unfortunately getting used to this since it also happened last February. But they're prepared again, and he hopes they won't have to close down Main Street.
We don't like to see that because that raises problems with the schools, with the school buses and transportation in town. We don't like to see that, but we have to close the river if it gets dangerous, if it gets high enough, we do have to close it.
He tells me the city does have storm flood shields that FEMA gave them in the 90s. They act as door jams for downtown businesses along the river, but they haven't been pulled out yet because the city doesn't expect to need them. Most of the businesses are also raised, so there is less of a chance of damage. We did speak to business owners that when Main Street closed last time, they had to shut down their businesses, so they really hope that that doesn't happen again. In Darlington, Amanda Quintana, News 3 Now.
Governor Tony Evers says he wants to build 2 new juvenile detention facilities in Milwaukee and also Hortonia, a small town in Outagamie County. Governor Evers shared his plans today. The facilities will house serious offenders from Lincoln Hills, the state's troubled youth prison, which you see here. The DOC will operate the new facilities. Republican lawmakers passed a bill last year that requires the State Department of Corrections to close the youth prison by 2021 and replace it with regional facilities. The bill allows for borrowing up to $25 million for the project. The county's top officials have shared who they will endorse for mayor of Madison. Today, County Executive Joe Parisi hosted an event to announce his support of Satya Rhodes Conway. Here's a little on why he is supporting her over incumbent Mayor Paul Soglin.
Satya gets that we all must work together if we are to accomplish our common goals. And we have many, be it cleaner lakes, thriving kids, better transportation, or tackling poverty. There is no shortage of challenges or opportunities on which we can work together.
Meanwhile, Dane County Sheriff Dave Mahoney plans to endorse Mayor Soglin in his re-election bid. In a post on the mayor's Facebook page, Sheriff Mahoney says he admires the mayor's leadership and his willingness to work collaboratively on public safety and public health issues that cross municipal boundaries. You can hear from both mayoral candidates this Saturday. They're taking part in a forum at Covenant Presbyterian Church on Seago Road. Starting at 4, attendees are encouraged to come with questions for the candidates. Next on News 3 now at 6, building hope by building furniture, how a one-of-a-kind table is helping area families impacted by autism. A Madison man is using his craftsmanship to give back to a resource he says was a tremendous help in his journey of parenting. Jamie Perez shares the story behind one unique jellyfish table and the furniture maker's story.
For the last 5 years, Josh Canico has been making furniture out of his garage. Using resources around him, he was a self-taught woodworker. He taught himself how to cut trees down, mill his own lumber, and build things with his own 2 hands.
And after I learned how to do all of that, it was how do I continue to inspire myself and inspire others and create interesting things.
He's made everything you can think of.
Beds, cabinets, chairs.
Including the one he's sitting on.
It's fun to match function with art and really just create unique pieces for individuals.
But Josh was looking for something more than just pieces to decorate the home. Josh's son Mason was diagnosed with autism at 5 years old.
And when you look back on it now, all the signs were there. He had no concept of personal space. He was oftentimes very close to someone, blowing in their hair.
Being fairly unfamiliar with how to cope, he leaned on sources through autismspeaks.org.
And I wanted to make it a goal of mine to give back to those resources that we leaned upon.
Josh made what he calls a jellyfish table.
See my tables and try to picture some sort of animal inside of them. And this one, it kept coming back to me. It looked like the legs when you push up underneath the table. It just looks like the arms of a jellyfish as it goes through the ocean. It kind of plays off 2 things, one being the sea, but blue is also the official color of autism.
A table he plans to raffle off online and give all proceeds back to Autism Speaks. He's not only donating the money he can get from the tickets, but an anonymous donor will play a big part as well.
For every raffle ticket that has been purchased already, they will match that donation and any future raffle ticket purchase up to $3,000.
giving back to the organization that helped him learn. He's taking his own self-taught craft, creating more sources and opportunities for others.
It's important for parents to know that it's, you're not alone and that there are resources out there.
In Madison, Jamie Perez, News 3 Now.
Raffle tickets will be sold until April 2nd. A link to those tickets are on our website, channel3000.com. There are no limitations on who can enter the raffle. He says he will ship it free to anyone, anywhere in the world. The rain is just about here. We have alert days in the forecast for today or tomorrow. First responders across Dane County will be able to better serve people with dementia thanks to a new piece of equipment in ambulances and squad cars. These are called sensory bags filled with items that can help someone with memory issues stay busy and calm in the event of an emergency. 60 bags have been assembled so far, and they're getting delivered to first responders across the county. Sun Prairie's fire department got its first sensory bag about 2 weeks ago. EMS Chief Brian Goff says they've already helped them adapt to patients' needs.
If you were to experience an ambulance ride, we could talk about it and you could tell me how you're feeling and what the challenges are, and we could work specifically to make that better for you. But with a person who's not able necessarily to convey those types of complex thoughts and ideas, it makes it difficult. And so having a tool like this is beneficial for us because it helps us to bridge that gap.
Middleton first responders are going through training right now, and other departments across the county will receive their sensory bags soon. Dane County was able to purchase them thanks to a grant from the Aging and Disability Resource Center. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield joining us now as we feel that warm up, but with it comes rain and the concern of flooding days.
It sometimes feels like you can't win in the weather department.
Exactly.
Because temperatures in the 50s and 60s sounds great, but you got to read the fine print of this user agreement, unfortunately, because we do have some flooding concerns. Alert days in the forecast for Wednesday and Thursday. We're expecting rounds of rain showers, maybe even some isolated thunderstorms at times over the next few days. It won't be raining the entire time, but still there's going to be some possibility of some areas of flooding. So a flood watch in effect for all of southern Wisconsin until we get to early on Friday morning. There's a lot going into why we are looking at the possibility of flooding. First of all, we have some rain on the way. That will do it most times. About a half an inch to an inch of rain, maybe closer to an inch and a half in spots across southern Wisconsin. We do have above average snow still on the ground across much of the area, about 3 to 6 inches from Madison to the northeast, closer to Juneau. Also, the ground is pretty well still frozen, so not a lot of space for this rain to go just yet. So a lot coming together to create some minor flooding concerns over the next few days. So we'll have to watch out for that. Platteville on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam, we noticed some clouds off in the distance, but no rain falling just yet. Maybe a few raindrops over the last half hour in Madison, but nothing significant on the Edgewater Skycam. The almanac for today, right at normal for this time of year, with highs in the low 40s. We'll be in the low 50s tomorrow, and some of us close to 60 by Thursday. On Doppler track, we noticed the rain moving in over the past couple of hours. Nothing too heavy just yet across southern Wisconsin. Heavier rain off to the north and west, closer to Eau Claire, and multiple rounds of rain coming from a powerful storm system to the south and west that will help temperatures get into the low 50s on Wednesday. Check out, we see some 60s on the way, also some 70s farther to the south, and we are close to 60 by the time we get to Thursday afternoon before temperatures come crashing down closer to the upper 30s by Friday. So for tonight, we'll be in the upper 30s, rain showers and patchy fog possible. On future track, a little bit closer to home, we notice the multiple waves or rounds of rain on the way. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, and we're not counting out the possibility of a few thunderstorms over the next few days. Spring is kind of blasting into southern Wisconsin with this storm system, and temperatures really staying well above freezing over the next couple of days, and that could complicate flooding concerns because of that snow melt that will occur, and also about a half an inch to an inch and a half of rain out of the question by the time we get to early on Friday morning. So a look at your 10-day forecast, definitely entering the lamb portion of March by the second half of this 10-day forecast. Things looking a little bit quieter, a little bit closer to normal. St. Patty's Day is looking pretty nice with highs near 40.
The Packers had some money to spend on free agents, and today they spent about $183 million on them. The story's coming up in sports. You know, someone was just asking me earlier today, why do the Packers have all that salary cap room and they don't seem to be signing any free agents? Well, today they spent some of that money. In fact, a lot of that money. 4 new free agents will officially become Packers when the free agent signing period begins tomorrow. The most help comes to the defense that needs help. The Packers are going to get edge rusher Zadarius Smith. The Packers tried to make a trade for Smith a few years ago and now get Smith as he's headed into his prime. He's 26 years old, had 8.5 sacks and generated 60 pressures last season, 17th most among edge rushers in the NFL. He'll be paid handsomely, 4 years, $66 million. The Packers are also getting another edge rusher named Smith. That's Preston Smith, who was with Washington last season. He's only 26 years old. The Packers are also signing former Bears safety Adrian Amos and former Denver offensive lineman Billy Turner. You add those 4 salaries, and the Packers are spending a total of $183 million for the length of those contracts. Now, if those guys are all coming to Green Bay, someone has to go, and that's defensive lineman Nick Perry. In 7 seasons with the Packers, Perry started 48 games and had 32 sacks. In 8 playoff games, he had 7 sacks. That's the 3rd most in Packers history in the playoffs, behind Clay Matthews and Reggie White. By releasing Perry, the Packers save over $11 million in salary cap money. And sometimes things change. Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr, remember him, the guy who tackled Aaron Rodgers a couple years ago, breaking Rodgers' collarbone? He had agreed to a new contract with the New York Jets yesterday, but today a change of heart. Barr will be back with the Vikings, 5 years, $77 million. The Badger men's basketball team is getting ready for the Big Ten tournament in Chicago later this week, but they have plenty of time to get ready. By finishing 4th in the conference standings, the Badgers get the 2-day bye. They don't play till Friday afternoon around 2 o'clock. So do you prepare for Rutgers or Nebraska or Maryland or all of them? Head coach Greg Gard says, well, it's a little bit of everything, but nothing real complicated.
So you get to this point in the year, you're not going to reinvent the wheel. You know, we understand what makes us good defensively, what we're going to have to take away with each team. And then, obviously, offensively, try to be as efficient as possible. So we'll, like we normally do, split the possessions with the opponents.
And here's a look at the Badgers part of the bracket in the Big Ten tournament, which starts tomorrow with Nebraska and Rutgers in the 12-13 game. That winner plays Maryland about 2 o'clock Thursday. Then the winner of that game faces the Badgers Friday afternoon around 2 o'clock at United Center in Chicago. If the Badgers make the semifinals, that's noon on Saturday. If the final is Sunday afternoon, 2:30, right here on Channel 3. And you see these tournaments, you'll see a lot of former local high school stars playing in college. The Green Bay women's team played Wright State in the Horizon League Championship this morning. Former Broadhead star Carly Moan spent a year at Iowa before transferring to Green Bay. She scored 9. There's Lakeside Lutheran's Megan Pingles. She scored 5. But Wright State won the championship 55-52 to get the automatic NCAA berth. Blackhawks' Jen Wellnitz and Portage's Caitlin Hibner also on that Green Bay roster. They won 20 straight conference championships before Wright State got them this year.
Oh, very good. The big news today, the Packers making some moves.
Yeah, let's see if that helps.
Yeah. Well, after that last game against the Lions, they needed some help on D.
Spending money doesn't always work, but
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
All right. Final check, Dave?
Yeah, we have some rain on the way over the next couple of days. Could have some minor flooding concerns as well.
All right, we'll have more updates tonight at 10. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 6.